What's the real story behind the famous haunted Annabelle doll? The Conjuring movie universe has introduced us to one of the creepiest dolls to ever hit the silver screen, Annabelle. But the real origins behind the doll that we see in The Conjuring and the two Annabelle movies is far different than what Hollywood gives us. So what's the truth? The real Annabelle isn't a creepy wooden doll created in the rustic workshop of a toy maker. The real Annabelle is a large Raggedy Ann doll, a character created by American writer Johnny Gruelle, who both created the doll and wrote children's stories. The Raggedy Ann doll in our story first appeared in 1970 as a gift to a 28-year-old nurse from her mother. She put the doll on her bed, and within days she began to notice that the doll would change positions and move around. Sometimes legs or arms would be crossed. Sometimes she would be found standing on her feet. At other times, the doll would be in a completely different room. The woman and her roommate then began finding pieces of parchment around the apartment with cryptic messages scrawled out like a child that read, "Help us." There had been no parchment paper in the home. For a time, the women thought an intruder had been entering the apartment, but the activity continued even after taking precautions. Then one day, the doll appeared to have some sort of red substance on his hands and chest that resembled blood. Unsure what to do in the situation, they contacted a psychic medium and a seance was held in the apartment. During the seance, the medium told them of a girl named Annabelle Higgins who used to live on the property before the apartments had been built. Sadly, she had died at the age of 7. Saddened by this story, and with the presumed spirit of Annabelle telling them she wanted to stay and be loved, the roommates gave the spirit permission to inhabit the doll. Unbeknownst to them, this was a malevolent spirit who had used the psychic medium as a conduit to trick them into this arrangement with the Raggedy Ann doll. And then things got worse. One day, a male friend of the women who had fallen asleep in the apartment awoke to find the doll staring at him from down by his feet. Annabelle then glided up his body and started strangling him until he passed out. When he awoke, the doll was gone. Had it been a dream? The next day, a rustling sound was coming from the young nurse's bedroom, and, fearing an intruder, the male friend went to go have a look. Nothing was out of place in the room except Annabelle, who looked as if she had been tossed to the floor. As he neared the doll, he felt a presence, as if somebody had stepped up behind him. He spun around, but nobody was there. Suddenly, a sharp pain seared through his chest and he fell over, bleeding. His shirt was soaked with blood, and he found 7 claw marks scratched into his chest, 3 vertical and 4 horizontal. These massive scratches, however, healed quickly within a couple days. At this point, almost desperate, the women reached out to the Episcopal Church, and the church reached out to the Warrens. Upon hearing of the case, Ed and Lorraine Warren became interested and contacted the roommates. When they visited, the Warrens deduced that the doll itself was not possessed, but manipulated by an inhuman presence. While it was using the doll and portraying itself as Annabelle, it was not looking to stay attached to the doll, it was looking to possess a human host. A cleansing of the apartment was conducted by clergy, and when it was over, the Warrens took the doll home with them. But the spirit attached to the doll wasn't done. According to the Warrens, Ed warned against them taking the highway home, and they began having severe car problems until sprinkling the doll with holy water stopped the issues. Once home, the problems with the doll resumed. Ed had placed Annabelle on a chair near his desk, and the doll reportedly levitated several times. At other times, the doll would move from room to room, even if locked away. A Catholic priest once came to the Warrens' house, picked up Annabelle, and told the doll, "You're just a rag doll, Annabelle. You can't hurt anyone." Ed warned him off the doll, and later Lorraine asked him to be extra careful while driving home. Unfortunately, on the road, the young priest had a near-fatal accident when his brakes gave out. Had it something to do with the spirit attached to Annabelle? The Warrens responded by building a special case for Annabelle, upon which is affixed a sign that reads, "Warning, positively do not open." While the case appears to have kept Annabelle from moving about the house, the spirit still has its potency. According to the Warrens, a young man and his girlfriend were visiting the Warren Museum, and after hearing the story of Annabelle, the young man began banging on the case and taunting the doll. Ed asked the couple to leave, but later found out that the young man and his girlfriend had been in a motorcycle accident directly after leaving the house. The young man was instantly killed, while the girlfriend spent a year in recovery, explaining that they were laughing about the doll when they lost control of the bike. As for the Conjuring universe movies, the orphan Janice becoming Annabelle Higgins, the story of Mia recovering the doll from her husband John, the satanic cult, the fire, the toy maker, throwing chairs, it's all fiction. Probably the only elements that are true in the movies are how she moved about from place to place, the writing of the notes, and the fact that the doll ended up with the Warrens. The rest was all just good cinema. And if you want to learn more about Hollywood ghost stories, please go ahead and check out our other videos off to the side. I'm Mike Ricksecker. Until next Friday night.